That didn't take long at all. Right back into game number 2, ladies and gentlemen. NaVi versus Empire. The latter one being up 1-0 in this best of 3 series. The winner of this game, if it should be Team Empire, then they've already punched a ticket to MDL. NaVi have to win 2 games in a row. My name is Dragon Drop. I'm joined by Skim. Welcome back.
Hey, thanks for having me back. I'm totally looking forward to this. This is, again, I highlighted this in the first draft. This is like one of the greatest, or one of the sort of the coolest classic matchups in all of Europe and CIS. Both teams showed us a great game in game 1. Sure, Empire won the game, but I still think that NaVi, put up a great fight here and there. They definitely managed to show us what they're capable of. Although I will say that obviously they still have much more up their sleeve, and hopefully we'll see it this game.
Yep.
But once again, they leave in the Brewmaster, which I don't necessarily agree with. I think Ghost 6 Brewmaster is so strong that you sort of have to respect it. And if they give him, both Earth Spirit and Brewmaster again, that's going to be rough. Team Empire's mid-game control is so strong with these 3 heroes because Miposhka is an excellent roamer, and with Brewmaster in the mid-game, they just always have the tempo on their side. They just know how to dictate the pace of the game with those 2 heroes, and with the Brewmaster especially. That I'm curious how NaVi is going to respond to this, because I don't think they can go for a lineup like they had just now. One that basically gives up control in the mid game, or relies on a solid early and then mid game in order to sort of transition or at least take the game.
Yeah.
And
It's not until just now. I mean, the first 3 picks was a carbon copy from game number 1. Beastmaster for NaVi, and ES and Brewmaster. But now they steal themselves Witch Doctor. And I kind of feel that they need to just have that chaos, that extra bit of damage coming through from the Death Ward.
I don't necessarily think so, but I think what they definitely need to do is not pick their mid-hero second pick anymore when they already have their offlaner as well.
Yeah.
I think it can work, but picking offlaner and mid in the first phase is very risky because it gives Empire 3 picks to counter all both heroes, right?
Yeah.
And it also sort of gives away a little bit of a game plan, because you can't really, if you last pick a mid, for example, you can pretty much throw off the enemy with like a really wild pick, and then suddenly we're not pushing anymore, we're actually like a ganking lineup, right? And that doesn't really happen when you have Viper, because Viper is not a ganker. Viper is like a sort of like strategic, sort of like team fighting push kind of hero.
Yep.
So I love that they pick a support. The fact that it's a Witch Doctor, maybe it's sort of like a deny pick because Empire did pick it last time around. Maybe at the same time it's also just because it's a good hero for them, because in a push with the sustain from the Witch Doctor, they just feel more comfortable perhaps pushing with some sort of sustain. So I don't know, but it's much better than picking Brewmaster Viper, Beastmaster Viper, in my opinion.
Yeah. Right, Nightstalker and Nick Assassin taken away here for Empire. The Razor also not going to make another appearance. Neither is the Witch. So now into the second phase. Empire. What do they want to show us now? They get the Viper, alright. Whatever you can do, we can do better, they say. Get that for themselves, and with the Razor banned out, it's like the one lane counter that seems popular. How else do you deal with that now?
There's a couple of heroes still left. The Sniper that NaVi banned last game, for example, is also a hero that deals with the Viper in lane. It's also difficult here for them to kill because they don't really have a good catch just yet. I mean, yeah, they have the Roar, but kind of need a Blink Roar for that. But I don't know, there are a couple of options, and usually it's a 2v1 anyway. Or a 2v2 anyway. So in that scenario, it's not necessarily like which hero does well against the Viper, but more so which combination of 2 heroes does well against a combination of Earth Spirit and Viper.
Yeah.
They go with Clockwork again, which I like. I do think that Roger played a very good and strong early game, and his mid game was also fantastic. Picked up an early Aghanim's, actually. Oh, yeah. All things considered, a very early Aghanim's. It's also a good hero to have against the Brewmaster in general as an initiator. And as we saw in that one engagement where Brewmaster tried to get his ultimate off, he couldn't because of the
battery assault. Just keep taking away. Yeah.
5 seconds remaining.
I do agree with that. So it's just a matter of Clockwork can seem underwhelming if you're playing from behind, but it's not really. It wasn't really on Roger in the last game. Not often on Clockwork in the first place, so. They're gonna hope to find a better circumstance to actually turn it into a successful game. So, Empire, Still need a core, they still need enough support, and that is, yeah, the Rubik.
Yeah.
Classic counter to Clockwork as well. Good against the Witch Doctor too. You can have an easy time dealing that death ward for yourself and then cancelling it with the telekinesis. And you have good spells to steal even beyond that.
It's a good pick for sure. There's so many good spells to steal, and it kind of it's a very solid support in a sense. I will say that in the safe lane, it kind of leaves him a little bit exposed because Rubik isn't necessarily a strong dual laner, and with Miposhka roaming around, I don't think Vanskor will have much support from his support buddy. So this is something that Navi could exploit. If they have Beastmaster Clockwork in the bottom lane, yeah, it's a good counter against the Clockwork, like against the cogs and whatnot. But it doesn't necessarily help you protect yourself. Like there's a lot of ways where they can kill him with a boar slow, and then they battery assault on top of it. So this is something that Navi could, and I hope they do exploit, because last game they didn't really apply a lot of pressure on that bottom lane. If anything, they sort of sacked the off lane, right, and tried to focus on the mid lane and the safe lane, which I guess kind of worked out. But I don't know. I think the Beastmaster needs a bit of a jump start, because otherwise his mid-game impact is very, very low. I don't think we saw General ever really pushing a tower by himself. If anything, it was always together with his team, and as a Beastmaster, yeah, you do want to push with the team, obviously, you have the aura, but you also want to be a little bit of a split push presence in the kind of mid-game, which we didn't see at all. There's another hero that does actually do fairly well against the Viper. Yeah, it kind of sucks that you can't get harassed and whatnot, and yada yada yada. But with raises, you can keep up with farm, and once you do get a bunch of souls up, you actually hurt like a truck. And like we pointed out earlier, physical damage doesn't necessarily doesn't get blocked by Corrosive.
Yeah. And Shadow Fiend is also there in the classic, right? Can't really argue with that. And you also have the Clockwork on the same team, so you're gonna start the game like around 10 to 12 souls, which can offset that one disadvantage that he has in the first couple of minutes. So I do agree with that, and now I wonder if Na'Vi don't just want to pick up a safe laner that is fairly self-sufficient in order to free up the Witch Doctor to work together with the Clockwork. Because Maledict, we saw it in the last game as well, it's a hell of a drug. It got Vanskor so many kills and so much farm. And together with the Clockwork, you actually have the damage to make that work really, really early on. So if you put these together as kind of a roaming combo, you can put under pressure, right? You can catch heroes like Rubik, even Brewmaster pre-level 6, Earthbit, if you can manage to block his roll too. It's plenty of opportunities that you can find. So I'm thinking of a hero like maybe in Faceless Void. Just leave him in lane, you're always gonna be able to make good use of the Chronosphere too, with the Shadow Fiend range, the Witch Doctor Death Ward.
He actually trades really poorly against the Brewmaster, though.
That's the downside. Yeah.
If you want to have somebody that's self-sufficient in lane, you need somebody that can deal with Brewmaster efficiently in lane. Brewmaster in 1v1 scenarios does actually fairly well against melee heroes, against most of them anyway. There's a couple, of course, that pull out ahead. But in terms of carries, yeah, Phantom Lancer, not really a hero that you want to leave alone necessarily. If anything, you actually have a bit of kill potential onto the Brewmaster. We'll see how they play it out. I would definitely like it if they would sort of like look for a 1v1 and maybe they put the Beastmaster against the Brewmaster and go aggressive with Phantom Lens or Witch Doctor. That could actually work. But at the same time, Beastmaster is also not necessarily one that you want to leave in a 1v1 against a Brewmaster, because, or rather, I think there's a lot of gank and kill potential on a Beastmaster in that safe lane. If the Brewmaster pulls back the wave a little bit and push comes in, there's a lot of kill potential there. So it's a bit of risky business. I wouldn't be surprised if Navi just goes for the standard stuff, just, we have Beastmaster off lane and Phantom Lancer safe lane. But I like this pick. This is a much more well-rounded lineup from Navi in a sense where they can fight in the mid game, of course, with the Shadow Fiend Beastmaster. They have 2 active supports as well for the early game, and they have that fallback potential with carrying, with carries and Phantom Lancer and Shadow Fiend as well. But at the same time, if Empire picks a hyper-aggressive mid-game lineup again, 1 pick away basically, they could look to run over Navi as well, because Shadow Fiend needs some time and items as well. If Beastmaster doesn't have a good time, he won't have any impact in the mid-game either. So Empire just need 1 aggressive carry and they are good to go to just run over Navi potentially.
Beastmaster and Shadow Fiend, very momentum-based heroes. Phantom Lancer is one of these that can still punch hard in the later parts of the game, and can also be very hard to kill. I mean, up until some point you had the Earthbit with the stuns and silencers to control him up, and anyone else to provide the extra damage, but eventually that won't be enough. And now Silent with the Gyrocopter. That is the aggressive mid-game carry that you were talking about, I think, right? You have that certain amount of magic damage.
It's sort of a hybrid in a sense. You know, he can be very aggressive in the mid-game, of course, but he also falls back into a good carry, you know, that deals with a Phantom Lancer if that scenario does crop up. But yeah, the Empire sort of set themselves up to be a little bit aggressive in the mid-game for sure. Viper and Brewmaster, of course, you know, they wreak sort of mid-game aggression a little bit, though we have seen, of course, Ghostic building for that Midas, so always being able to transition into the late game if the game needs it. So, I don't know. It's, again, two rather well-run lineups. I kind of favor favor Empire just because I think the laning stage is a little bit more solid. The Viper generally does well in this laning, or should generally do well in this laning stage against the although as I say that Crystallize is heading mid, so I think they don't want the SF against. Or I mean, nah, looks like maybe he's heading top.
Nah, he's not going mid.
Why else would you pick up a Stout Shield? I don't think you pick up the Stout Shield if you're going safe lane against the Brewmaster. I don't think that's what you do. Then again, Dandy does have his Tangos pulled, so he's definitely going to go mid. They're going to do the Clockwork Shadow Fiend shenanigans in base.
Like with the with the absence of Pullman Shield, Stout Shield is the closest thing that you can get to just help deal with a bit of the creep harassment as well, in case you just get aggroed. It's a couple of right clicks. It's still okay. I have to pick up early.
Roger, one more cogs. One more cogs. He's not gonna do it. He's not gonna do it.
It's already up to 12. It's plenty. But I like this move, and time again they just try to get that instant kill on the Shadow Fiend to put him back down to 6, and looks like they would get Roger actually screws Dandy over. Doesn't actually catch him inside the cogs as they walk around. The first blood is spilled. This is the way to counter this out. So from 12 souls down to 6 already. Still has like what, 60 loss of damage, which is still serviceable. But anyway,
they're also gonna lose the rune, so they're only getting one rune again. Navi, that is. Or Roger, is he gonna do it? No.
What?
Close, he gets it.
Okay.
Very close. Well, let's see. Who has it about to block? Dendi or FN? Looks to be a Dendi favorite block.
No, just slightly. Try and get rid of the range creep immediately with the pull up to the high ground. Roll will be dodged. Roger wrapping around. This is the cogs level 1, so you can push FN back a little bit. Couple extra right clicks. Corrosive Skin level 1. There's, if nothing else, it's annoying. Yeah. Again, this 2v2 mid. We've seen a similar thing last game. How are these other lanes looking? Of course, Ghost Stick down bottom. Let's have the club level 1, so you're you're missing out on.
Be careful top actually. Okay. There's a lift available.
There is indeed, and Rock Barrage coming back off cooldown, and yeah.
Yeah, this is a very greedy play from General. He tried to go for the creeps on the side, even though his own creep wave was super deep in. He thought he could go for a couple of cheeky sort of like last hits, but of course, with Vanscore wrapping around, that was never going to happen.
Yep. Bit of a problem here in this offlane. It's gotten so hard to make it work. Getting this kill even just with 2 heroes, just I don't know. Not a good sign again for Navi to start this game off with. Yeah. Down bottom goes. He's level 2 now, so Drunken Haze make things a little bit easier once he's level 3 with Drunken Brawler. We also have that passive dodge and trade a little bit more evenly with the Witch Doctor. But for now, he's out of mana and half health. At half health. Have to walk back, eat a salve or something, secure some bounty runes.
So this is why I don't like FN's item or skill build going for the Corrosive Skin level 1. Because look at how different the lane becomes, the dynamic, when he can harass Dendi with poison attack. You know, he pushes him back. Yeah, sure, this is because both supports are gone. Oh,
stand up, Vance goes there, doesn't have a lift available here. Gets him, drags him outside the cogs, and okay, FN actually dropping super low. Dendi with another race makes a trade out of it.
Yeah, FN tunnel vision for that kill. He's like, oh yeah, great, I can get a kill, and then I'm totally back and oh damn, there's an SF hitting me. Double raise, a triple raise actually.
So good for Denny. I mean, it's up to almost max souls. 2.0 Necro Mastery. Miposhka actually rolling past the tower. Then you just Casually sidesteps it. Not often that you see a Viper lose mid, but right now he's behind in CS.
And he's behind in levels as well. He's almost 2 levels behind Din, or no. He's a level behind Dindy.
Yeah.
But at this stage of the game, that means a lot.
Poison Race coming out soon. More creep needs to die, and then, well, throws the skin is good and all, but with the Raze buff, having that combo bonus essentially, it still hurts like hell. Especially if you're caught inside the cogs and can't really get out.
Yeah, I don't know about this corrosive skin build. Maybe it's because of the Roger harassment, but at the same time, if he had poison tech earlier and Roger plays so aggressively, they can punish him for it more than they can right now.
Yep.
I don't know. It feels like, oh, maybe FN has a completely different idea behind the skill build, but Denny is definitely pulling ahead double the last hits, or I guess triple the last hits if you're considering the...
He's trying to repair that. Miposhka rolling in out of the smoke. Vansko's there to follow up. They also have the stun. Denny, though, with the early fire will be able to make it under tower and eat another self, but not before getting some extra right clicks off on Miposhka. Soneko with the cast, actually setting up only for long range race. The cast bouncing to the ancients, but not back to Miposhka. And it looks like he'll be just fine. Barely, but just. That doesn't make any sense. Ignore me. Top lane though, could also be interesting. Roger, he's level 3, down to half health, and he also has an Innersoon. He did not expect this at all. Got inside the cogs, only one creep. Took up a few of these charges. That's another good kill. NaVi pulling back into this early game.
This laning stage already looking so much better than the last one. Oh, mid lane.
Go Chadfine, instant TP there from Roger. And he just turns around, 1 raise, 2 raise. Both heroes now down half health. Viper still has that self, Dandy does not.
If Poshka's there, that's probably a completely different scenario. He could roll in and kick Dandy even further into the Viper potentially, but... Oh, maybe now? No. That was a poor attempt.
Really good job just sidestepping most of these rolls.
Especially with that one ward paying off a lot. And it's difficult to scout out these wards. There's so much high ground they need to cover where the ward could potentially be. And they already set a sentry earlier trying to find that one ward, but they actually only found a sentry, which they didn't even get to kill.
Yeah. Oh well.
Yeah. So yeah, again, this laning stage is going so much better. Brewmaster completely zoned out of the bottom lane with the Witch Doctor, and this is, I guess, also one of the reasons why they picked the Witch Doctor. He's a much more capable zoner than the Disruptor was, of course. And
something mid here. The Meltex is actually on top of FN with the race. That's a lot of damage. Extra right clicks, yeah. And that's also one thing that he can do. Whoops, indeed. Not so much for NaVi, but for Empire. Yeah.
Empire's losing control of this laning stage, and their supports are trying everything they can to try and mitigate this. And they're rotating between the mid and the safe lane, but they can't find those kills, which is very important for them. They need those kills on either the Beastmaster or the SF right now. But they just, Vanscore's actually looking for this Beastmaster. He's been looking for him for a while now, but couldn't really find him. Miposhka has tried 3-4 times now in the mid lane with a roll.
Yeah, he's just been doing nothing but trying to roll on Dendy, but at this point, with the DD rune, you don't even want that. And now he's being scouted out by Roger. He can just easily walk in at the same time. Okay.
Call down used to get a kill on the Beastmaster. Finally, they get a kill on him. They've been trying to kill him for a while now.
I got an initial one here with the wraparound from Rurik. Yeah, it's... General has been able to catch up quite nicely here since then. He's still close to level 6. We're just looking for the courier here? Don't think you can kill it. Yeah.
No, I think he waited until the courier would pass so that he could cross over to this portion of the jungle, so he can come from this side.
This is so good, FN. And it gets rolled on though. Does have some help from Miposhka. Still finds a way across on the side of these cogs. Maldic on top of him, so cannot really feel comfortable going in. Roger, he's dropping low and will be right click down Miposhka. That last right click actually missing uphill. He'll get the TP out. Empire
it's a good kill for them.
A lot of luck and a bit of good positioning. Or vice versa.
Unfortunately though for FN, even though he harassed Denny down, Denny and SF of course build a bottle or buy a bottle so they can regen up, FN cannot. So he actually has to walk back to the shrine wasting a little bit of time here. And then he just pulls ahead even further into the last hits. I mean, he's at 38 and 39 denies. 39 denies.
Right, at least 12 of them were cogs. So.
Well, true, 12 of them were cogs. But, you know, the rest of them weren't. And that's so much XP for him. He's level 7.5 and FN just hit level 5.
God, yeah. That is actually crazy, that kind of difference. Well, that's exactly where Shadow Fiend wants to be. You want to be like ahead by like 2-3k goals. He's getting there, 1.2k ahead of the Viper, and the experience also significant this early on in the game, having the max level raise 3 points up to an Echo Mastery. And like, you land a combo with that, set up by Roger, even just on your own. Anyone that's not Viper with max Kurosa skin will just straight up die to that. Even if N, yeah, he's gonna have his troubles with that too.
I think Ghostic is trying to bait and crystallize. Because they're posturing Miposhka here in a way, and Ghostic has a mango. I wonder if they're just baiting him in to overextend, and then they just pop the mango and the ultimate.
Yep.
But
not falling quit.
They're not gonna go for it anyway. And
look at the top lane. There's a smoke up general. That was level 7 since Witch Doctor, not quite level 6. Neither is Roger. They're still gonna look for a kill here. If they find the Raw on Silent or Vanscore, should be able to bring them down just with right clicks.
Perfect vision with the Hawk as well.
It is Raw, but Vanscore finds the lift first. So Neko actually with a wraparound from the other side. The cask bouncing back. We need a little bit more, and there we have it. Gets the call down off, but it's not really doing too much. Roger dropping a little bit lower to the Rocket Barrage, but don't think Vanscore can really turn this into anything.
I think it was like a 50% chance that would bounce that way. I think we were like, what, 3 targets? Or 2 targets left, basically? I don't know. It's a good kill, a good rotation from them, and this is sort of what we missed in the last game, right? Involving the Beastmaster in early kills, having the Beastmaster actually get kills themselves, or at least, you know, get the experience from those kills, because last game we just saw General basically suffering throughout most of the early and mid game. And again, this...
Okay, they're gonna go and then the stun coming through from Miposhka, but don't have a lot of follow-up control until the Storm Brewlings come through. Viper Strike connects and TP coming through now. Dendi jumps up the ultimate. A little bit of damage reduction and not damage to his Brewlings, but he will turn into his normal form in a second. Will be just fine. Ghostic gets another stunner plus the clap. General's actually in a lot of trouble. The cast will delay this a little bit more. Ghostic needs a crit though, and he doesn't have it crystallized. Matching that rotation as well. Saying, no, that's my kill. So we'll turn this into what, a 1-for-1 trade? Empire spending a lot of time committing for this kill on Denny.
Still good for Empire though. They get the high value target, you know, the Shadow Fiend. Even though I guess, technically speaking, Phantom Lancer would be higher value. But they also force the rotation from the Phantom Lancer. They force the rotation from pretty much everybody onto this SF mid, and they still get the SF. So this is a good trade for them. Sucks a little bit for Ghostic that he died, but it's a Brewmaster. He's fine.
He still got value out of his ultimate. One big factor that you always look at that hero. Oh, but he gets hook shotted now. Roger gets inside the cogs. No ultimate, even if he wanted to, he probably wouldn't have gotten it off with the battery assault. So it's a very quick, easy kill. Yeah, we're just talking about the strength of the razors. Sound right there. Then the 700 damage done in the blink of an eye.
I believe they saw that. I think they saw Roger moving in, and I think that Vanscore even drew it on the map. Was like, dude, you saw him move in there. We have the ward. Why didn't you go back? I'm not 100% sure. I think they should have caught a glimpse of him moving in there. So I'm surprised that he still gets caught out of.
Don't look at the minimap.
Yeah. On top lane, General gets called out, or called down upon, I guess.
Call out, call down, same thing. Bottom lane at the same time. Denny gets rolled on. Someone will connect Miposhka. Actually dropping very, very low. Does get stunned off though now. FN with the slowdown. Roger gets signs up, so you cannot really help out. And okay, there's Crystallize tipping back in, and Roger's still there to try and provide some extra bit of control. FN very tanky at this point. Crystallize does not want to commit into him, and Ghostic at the same time. We'll just move their separate ways, but that was a gank attempt on a Shadow Fiend who just says, hey, okay, you used the one stun, I'm just gonna TP out, and the rest of my team will trade another hero for it anyway.
Yeah, and with strength treads, or rather with treads in general, you know, then switching to strength and then the Ring of Aquila, he's actually pretty tanky. With strength treads, he's at what? Yeah, 1.2k HP. Has about 10 armor as well.
Roger, he's not done. Doesn't have a hook shot. Might have to use it defensively here. Bruce Blood committed, and it's looking to block a hook as well. It's actually missing it on Crystallize or Soneko. Doesn't have the range or the angle, so desperate attempt. A little bit in vain. Well, that'll happen sometimes. Bruce Blitz tanked essentially, and that's a cooldown now for a while. You take what you can get, and now Crystallize and Snake are gonna try to take advantage of that. Maledict on top, Death Ward, yeah, this is a dead Brewmaster in. Very dead Vanguard. Don't keep the Death Ward going, they're just gonna try to get out because there's more reinforcements coming in from Empire. Crystallize powered off from the rest of his side, was juking, driving through the trees. Tanks good number of rocket barrage hits though, going to do some damage to offend. But ultimately not enough to really get any sort of counter kill. Rumble's going with his Phantom Rush build. If you went for the max doppelganger, you would have had another one available by that point.
Yeah, but with this build, he was able to, you know, really zone Brewmaster out of the lane.
Yep.
It's a bit unfortunate, of course, but especially since, you know, he gave away so much gold. He's the highest net worth on his team. Giving that to Silent on top of it as well basically means that Silent is now the highest net worth in the game. And I wouldn't be surprised if Soneko dies here soon.
Yep. FN. Another Toxin.
Oh, by the way, General, this game around did what he didn't do last game.
So Katal, they're gonna take a second one, but not before the Raw onto Miposhki. Just TP'd in. Roger was ready for that with the perfect Cox placement, pushing back into the Raw.
This is actual Brewmaster gameplay. we didn't get to see that last game.
And they get another one. What? Cox into FN to just blow him up with Dendy in the middle of that. He built Blink Target for specifically this purpose. Vansko stole the ultimate, and now NaVi is in a lot of trouble. They burst down the Shadow Fiend. Crystallize taken over with the Mana Burn. Ghostic does not have another Brewmaster ultimate available, so he's just gonna go right click down. NaVi, again, they lose Dendy, but at what cost to Empire? 3 heroes down, just like that.
This is
4 heroes if you still want to count the
Vision game. Empire didn't have vision over all of NaVi, so they didn't really know who was there. They only knew so
that's another one. Vansko sticking around a little bit too long. Tanks the Spirit Lance in the face. Couple of right clicks here from the illusion. Okay, Death Ward has to be committed. That works.
This kill once again. The point I was trying to make. Empire doesn't have the vision to fight here. And then Vansko literally walks in and gets caught off guard again because he doesn't have the vision to fight here. NaVi just, you know, utilizing the Beastmaster Hawk, of course, alright, basically knowing, alright, there's no backup, we can just go for these kills. Of course, overextending a little bit and trading the SF again for it, but at the same time, they also get the Gyrocopter, who TPs in into everybody, because once again, he didn't know that there was like an entire lineup backing them up. So,
yeah, so the course of a minute and a half or so, that was a full 5-man wave, but now to extend that even further, and there's a cast coming in just in time to cancel TP, and the illusions there will be enough to finish that off. Silent with the call down, not really hitting on anything. Miposhka with the roll in, caught by the hookshot. Roger coming in, extra bit of control with the Cox, but the Brewmaster split in backlines, trading for Vansko. Roger left to his own devices as the rest of his team cannot get further. Crystallized, Death gets silent, so no doppelganger, nuked down by the Zap. Fate Bolt here for Vansko. This time not quite working out the way that NaVi wanted, but maybe it did. Space created for Dendy, Gus get the Aegis, Meal TV South, and also lose General though. This time it's NaVi's turn to just lose a hero one after the other.
Did General just solo Roshan?
Dendy
I know Dendy walked in at the end of it,
okay.
But I think
I
General
soloed
Roshan until the end there.
Why
That
not?
was impressive.
Many creeps. Necro level 2.
Yeah, again, General with a much better game that we've seen from him. I cannot stress this enough. Like, this is actually what a Beastmaster is supposed to do, and he wasn't able to do that last game. I know a lot of people have actually been flaming him last game as well, but I think he's totally redeemed himself with this performance in this game. Pretty much everybody in Navi's side, really. They're playing so much better than before, much more coordinated. Yeah, sure, they still give up a bunch of kills in mid lane. They overextend a little bit here and there. But that's also because Empire caught them off guard here, you know, coming multiple angles, Brewmaster coming from behind. So I don't know, this is a much better game than last game, I think. Both teams are much more even, both in terms of net worth, but also in map control.
True CIS fashion, they just go further and further and on and on and on. Roger, looking for a hook shot. The rocket will connect. But Empire, they also realize something is going on. They see Crystallize showing up down bottom, but hook shot will still connect on the Porsche. This should be a freebie if they have the burst damage, but he forced stuff out of it. Forced stuff here by someone else, actually. Silent, yeah, he has the Hurricane Pike.
With the Hurricane Pike. That's really strong from him. Otherwise, Miposhka probably dies there, and that opens up potential objective or potential team fight for Navi. With this, they can reset and look for a fight in a much better position, though FN is not in a good position.
And I've done quite a bit. Poshka, yeah, has the rest of his team with him. The Navi unable here to really commit without perhaps throwing out a couple of heroes. Indy almost needs to Hurricane Pike himself just to use on that missile time and time again. He's going very, very deep. He finds Silent. He's doing a lot more damage to him than Roger is to the Gyrocopter. And Dendy, he's being baited in here, but lifted up into the air, down to half health. He does have the Aegis, who doesn't particularly care, but Roger, well, he doesn't have that same luxury. Silent gets a killing spree. Now he's isolated from the rest of his team, though. They find him with a Melodic, couple of extra right clicks. Well, you baited it or something, that's what the cool kids say. Vent's going next on the list with another Spirit Land. Slowed down, the Axis will connect.
What?
Then the kill to General, it's not over. Dendy blinking forward, a couple of raises. Didn't even lose the Aegis here, the roar coming through on... What the hell was he doing there? Whoops, indeed.
Words.
Yeah.
There's two very questionable decisions being made here. Silent walks uphill knowing there's like 4 heroes behind him and he walks into them. Yeah. After he dies, he pings his teammates, by the way. He pings his teammates saying, well guys, why didn't you come in? There's a lot of miscommunication here. Brewmaster going in like that as well screams to me that there was like indecisiveness as to whether or not they should take this fight. FYI, they shouldn't have taken the fight.
Oh, really?
Certainly not in that position. After losing Silent, you just don't go in again. You just get out because, well, Empire was safe already anyway. With that, they lose a tier 2. They actually lost a tier 2 mid already because, once again, General, doing the Beastmaster thing, pushing the tower by himself. And Poshka even dropped his ultimate for it.
Keep the last one safe. They even want more. Dendy rolled on. Losing spam coming through from Crystallize. Mino, hookshot on the back. He just keeping Ghosting away. Now with the ultimate. Again, he cannot get his ultimate off. He will just be taken out immediately. They lose the Beast Bounce to the front, but now the cast bouncing through a Silent, forced off the way, but slowed down. Crystallize just working away to the hell it is. Well, that was another ultimate. This time from Vensko, I believe. Yeah, just turning things around. Roger will fall, but now the cast bouncing. They do the Delta split. So far, so good, but Crystallize is still chasing and just trying to leave the illusion to finish off FN. Doesn't look like it's going to be powerful enough. Witch Doctor, where does he die to? Bunch of different things.
I believe to poison from FN.
Well, maybe straight tower shot because that kill was shared. Oh well.
Yeah, might have been a tower. Yeah. Either way, Empire. It's a very scrappy fight. Could have been much worse for them, but they get rid of the Beastmaster straight away. So getting rid of the war is really important. They also survive on the Viper, which is very important. But both the cores on Empire are just so squishy right now. As Dendy with his 170 damage, whatnot. Oh, he has a DD in a bottle as well. Yeah, with his 170 damage, Crystallized with all of his illusions and the the mana break damage as well. Like there's so much damage coming out, and Empire's cores are just so squishy.
Good region up to full now in a second too. Wait for it once the Aegis expires. Well, they on the up and up, 5k advantage. Continuing to farm. And we talked about this Phantom Lancer. This was the last pick for NaVi. And he's slowly even getting to the point where it's becoming harder and harder to deal with him. He went for the Boots of Travel, has the Yasha, and now working towards that Manta style, so more illusions. And after that, you can imagine him going for some sort of tanky item, be it a butterfly or a heart or something like that. And at that point, what's Empire's solution to that? They're already having troubles just being run down by him.
Yeah, honestly, Empire just need to set up for better fights, because right now they've been taking fights where they are really split and they don't take fights on their own terms. That just comes down to a lack of vision, because if you look at the map right now and their vision, the vision doesn't really tell them anything.
They're gonna go in mid here. The Clockwork Rocket not scouting that out, so Dendi will fall. Roger still hook-shooting in to try and save him. Bruce Split committed. We'll take a couple of extra right clicks, and the rest of Navi will say, no, you're on your own, pal. Try and get out if you can. It was never gonna happen. They secured a bottom tower after all, so finishing that job off.
I was about to say the vision doesn't really tell them anything aside from those 2 wards at the river. But then I realized, hey, technically that 1 ward does tell them that there's nobody behind Dendi.
Yeah.
They could have been smoked up behind Dendi, theoretically speaking, but they blew Dendi up so quickly that it doesn't really matter anyway.
Yep.
So this is good for Empire, and these are the kind of fights that they need to keep looking out.
Oh, we find another one. General gets the roll onto the Brewmaster. Rocket chasing him. Silence being slowed down. Yeah, he might. That's an ultimate. This time from Vansko again. I think he used that one last time for his.
That would have been so hilarious if he just keeps dying to those creeps after they kill the Beastmaster.
Well, that is.
Oh.
Pep is dying to Snako as well as Crystallize. Silent will fall. Let's get caught on a decent amount of damage done. So they cannot really continue here. Seal level 2, so it's decent. We need to still spend a little bit of time.
Oh, Dendi
Crystallize feels comfortable. Oh yeah, he wants some blood. He wants revenge. He has a haste rune. He's just running right after them, chasing them all the way back up to the high ground.
By the way, after Dendi died, he immediately pinged behind him. He's like, guys, there has to be a ward here. Otherwise, there's no reason why they would jump me like that. Good awareness from him. Good awareness from Navi in general. They have so many good wards out right now. Or just in general, they have so good vision. Because they see whenever Empire comes out of the base effectively, they see where they rotate, they see where the supports are, and that just allows them to play as aggressively as they want to.
Yep.
At the same time, though, have to be careful not to give away many of these kills because, you know, SF, Phantom Lancer, high-value targets, giving away a bunch of streaks as well could potentially just get Empire back into the game. Gyrocopter's just a little bit from his BKB, and once he has his BKB, it's actually going to be much easier to fight or to stand his ground in a team fight.
He's in this bit of a rough
lots
spot.
Of physical damage.
Oh yeah. And right now he's just in this bit of a rough spot where you have these intermediary items, but magic damage is starting to fall off, and also kind of squishy, sort of. That being said though, he's sitting at almost 2k health points and 120 armor. But yeah, that BKB will make sure he can stand in fights, and after that, the world's your oyster when it comes to damage items, really.
So once again, Navi have complete vision or knowledge of Empire. Yeah, they don't have vision over them right now, but they know where they went. So they basically know, alright, Empire is all of there, alright, we can farm here, we can pressure this lane, you know, don't need to fear repercussions whatsoever. Throw a rocket out here, there, to give extra vision even, have a hawk flying around. This is a very difficult game to play for Empire.
It feels like last game where Empire was kind of all on their side of the map, just trying to scramble from lane to lane, pushing them out. Except this time Navi actually have the net worth lead and they have a very strong core that's ahead of Silent even still. Not by much right now, but still. Crystallize, he has a lot more combat effective items. He doesn't feel like he needs to go for BKB this game, and it's not an item that Phantom Lancer really wants to build anyway. So yeah, he has the hard queued up next.
Looks like Empire wants to smoke up. They did clear the wards, I believe. But at the same time, they were scouted walking uphill there, so Navi know roughly where they are. The question is Dendi going to be aware of this?
Well,
he should be.
Yeah,
like he immediately blinks out. He immediately blinks out. This sucks if you're Empire. You have like such a deep ward, you know where they're farming, and you still can't catch them off guard.
Good positioning here from the support, just sitting inside the trees. Good way to just get smokes in there. Heads at liquid vision though. Roger, alright. Not sure about this one. Just goes straight into the full 5-man line, but General comes in from the back. The roll onto Rubik. Vansko not quite dead just yet. The BKB popped on Silent. Unexpected perhaps from Navi. They're scrambling, trying to find a way back into this fight. Vansko, he's still alive though. Now Silent. Looking to try and make some kills happen on his own. Roger, nice little pushback, but the flak cannon is still going to be enough to finish him off first. Viper. Next on the list though. 2-for-1 trade so far. The tower also falling. Meanwhile, Brewmaster split. Handed up top. Dendi pops his own BKB to turn this around. Mipushka. Not quite that just yet. He can just TP out and probably want to see if he needs to help some of his teammates because, yeah, Silent without the BKB Crystallize, he's just back in the middle of that. But nice little clappy, getting rid of a lot of these illusions. Ghostly still very much healthy. That Death Ward cancelled immediately. Silent is still alive! NaVi, not so much.
NaVi once again overextending, bit overzealous trying to go for that. But Ghostic with just good awareness, you know, just waiting, and then clapping at the right time, making sure the Phantom Lance illusions can chase. Silent pops the shrine, and then in a smart play, he tracks the creep aggro, pulls the creep closer to him, and then flat cannons down the creeps and the Phantom Lancer at the same time. Overall, just a little bit sloppy from both sides, really. Roger going in like that, only seeing the gyrocopter, but at the same time, Empire also a little bit lucky. A little bit lucky that they got away with this. I don't think they should have been able to, but General was completely left alone against the Brewmaster and the Rubik at the end there. So he died pretty much by himself without being able to use the Roar, I believe. No, wait,
he used it initially on Rubik, but he didn't get the kill with it, right? Vanskar survived the whole deal, so this aggressive Nullfield aura was around, like a few, I'm not sure what kind of spells he stole, but just having that kind of a commitment and not actualize it just means that the whole team fight momentum is already a bit out of whack. If that makes sense.
Poor focus from both teams. Like there were 3-4 mini fights really. You know, Viper chasing the Witch Doctor around the tier 2, and it sort of like drew the attention from NaVi. And again, a little bit lucky, honestly. In those scrappy fights, anything can happen. And Empire getting ahead there, yeah. Also great play from Ghostic, for example. But at the end of the day, it's also a little bit lucky that Silent gets away with what 10 HP. It felt like it was 10 HP.
Yeah.
Could have been 100.
Maybe a little bit more, but not too much. Roshan being attempted, but Clockwork again. This is the Vision game. Also a huge part of it, just constantly being able to scout that out and make your opponent a little bit scared. Everything is available again for both teams. All the ultimates, all the items. BKB still at a reasonable duration for both sides. 9 seconds in Silent and Dandy. Anyone else have one? Just it doesn't look like it. And Crystallize, despite that setback, he's actually somewhere else entirely. He's pushing on the side. He can always TP in. He might have to. Roger. Well, he's being gone on, but the Raw to Ghosting. He still gets his ultimate off. Dandy, not quite strong enough just yet. And now he gets gone on. Control up before he can get the BKB. Down to half health already. Silent, right-clicking away at Roger. Now the Flak Cannon onto Soneko too. They have to scramble. Crystallize, actually control up by Miposhka. Vanskar with the zap. He's dropping super low. One more stone and I think he perched off that magnetize. No, it's still on him. But with the heals from Witch Doctor, he will be able to survive that at the very least. Dodges that stolen Spirit Lance with a Manta Style. They'll able to keep him alive. Dandy, well, he got tracked down earlier, and so is Soneko. So Empire still with a huge victory, especially the gem also changing hands with Porsche. He has one queued up himself, but now he doesn't need to buy it.
They're gonna get a rush out of this and potentially a tier 2. But General and Crystallize are doing the right thing already. They're split pushing the other 2 lanes. So they're not going to get anything out of these lanes, and if anything, they will have to TP back and defend them because they can't afford just to take free tier 3 damage like this.
Yep.
Especially at the bottom lane, with the tier 3 tower almost half HP only.
It's taking them forever to get Roshan as well. They've no minus something to really speak of, and only now FN coming in to provide the next bit of damage. So, yeah, Crystallize has already made it up to the high ground. He's Vanskar.
Poshka's trying to block the hook shot.
Okay, coming in, he does not get the Aegis, does not get last. It's a high risk, high reward kind of play, but well, this time it doesn't really work out. Wouldn't be the first time this works.
He forced us themselves out of range of the Spirit and then hook shots himself in.
Yeah.
Anyway, NaVi Crystallize takes the tier 3 bottom. This is, at the end of the day, still a good sort of like, you know, this is the best scenario they could have asked for after that horrendous team fight, that they still get this tower. It opens up the shrines, which is a little bit of more map control around the jungle area, and it just makes sure that, you know, if they win a fight, that's probably Rax. And this comes back to the lineup that they have, you know, with the Beastmaster just pushing out those waves, something that we've seen last game already, you know, that you highlighted, that they've done so good or so well in previous games as well. And Empire, they're struggling a little bit with this. Their lineup doesn't necessarily deal too well with this. I mean, yeah, sure, they have to Jark up than the Viper, but of course they have to be there for the Roshan.
Yep.
Their support's not the best wave pick, to be honest.
Yeah, because NaVi is in a much better shape compared to last game. They can actually force Empire into these long fights. I mean, these small skirmishes almost. These like, oh, 2 heroes are fighting there and 3 more on the other side of the river. Like these scrappy team fights that you were mentioning, those take a while to wrap up. So, and that's Okay, that's another round of Viper. Do they have enough damage here? Miposhka coming in, throwing out some stones, plus the magnetize, but Crystallize, he's pretty damn strong at this point. He just kills him instead. And now, with the Phantom Rush at point of end, Venskor there. Trying to turn this around, but there's no Spirit Lance. He's not the one holding the Aegis, but Crystallize, well, out of illusions, he's just gonna get controlled down here with the Brewmaster Split as well. Double on the deck, but will be recovered eventually here from Empire. 1-for-1 trade that they're gonna be happy with. And this is not quite a deal. Crystallize. He does have the Reaver, but not quite the completed heart just yet.
Yeah, this is NaVi sort of scrapping for some sort of advantage or trying to get a pick off desperately, which they shouldn't. Their lineup doesn't do well doing this kind of thing because, or at least not now, because they don't have any vision up, right? I highlighted earlier that, you know, if they have the vision, they can do all the things they want. But in this time around, they didn't have any vision. They knew, alright, the Viper's here, yeah, maybe we can burst him down. They blink in aggressively, but suddenly there's, what, 3-4 heroes around, you know. They fight next to a shrine as well, so people could TP in if they wanted to. Very bad decision-making from Navi to just try and engage there. If they get the Viper, maybe it works out, but it's a Viper. It's still fairly tanky, all things considered. And it's not like Dendi has like a super crazy advantage that he had before.
Gonna try again. Blink Roll this time with Soneko, with the Maledict as well as the Death Ward. FN will fall. Death Ward will be cancelled here. Ghostig, Silent, and Venskar. Well, gonna get the immediate trade. And can they find Soneko the roll? No stone in the middle of that, so it's not all that long, but he can catch up with the Force regardless. So double kill for Silent. And look, there's still tier 1 down here. Didn't even realize that, but it's gonna be a freebie. And yeah, probably the tier 2, but top lane. Look at this, TP in from Crystallize.
He has a blink kick if he wants to. Alright, he's not gonna go for it. They realize, yeah, look at this. Navi's already split pushing, can't really take this.
Almost split use. Bring up Dendi here. Venskor there to follow up, but BKB TV.
Alright, he's gonna go up.
I think it's that. Yeah, this is what Navi is in a much better position to do, but they have to be careful not to take too many of these highly disadvantageous trades, because then it's at a point where they might not find themselves in a situation where they can afford to just go across the map, because it's not going to take a lot of time for Empire to clean up these kills. You know? The only reason this works is because they can feel comfortable just TPing to the side, because Empire cannot respond immediately.
She's actually still on Dendi, didn't even realize this.
Oh yeah. But from the
previous Roshan.
Oh
yeah. Overall, this game, it's if we look at the graphs, which for the first time, sort of, you know, for a while now, is in Empire's favor because they've been able to take it back, you know, with a lot of these scrappy fights and taking all these objectives. That said, Navi's still in a good position. The heroes are getting their farm. As you pointed out earlier, there's a Reaver on the Phantom Lancer, and once he does have his heart, it's going to be much more difficult for Empire to actually focus him down in those fights or to kill him in general.
Do you pick that up now, or do you just hold on to buyback at this point?
I don't think you necessarily need to hold on for buyback. The way that Navi's been playing so far is always, you know, pushing at the waves, and right now, most of those waves are across the river anyway. So you could technically be a little bit greedy and just buy it straight up. But I wouldn't fault him for waiting for buyback either. It depends on what kind of game plan they want right now. If they think to themselves, well, let's try and look for a fight in the next 5 minutes, then you buy it and you commit to that fight. You know, you push out the waves and then you look for the fight. Or if they tell themselves, all right, let's just play the slow game. Let's take it late because our lineup can go late. So let's wait for 1 or 2 more items. Then you can afford to wait for buyback. And looks like that's gonna be a plan anyway. Looks like they might just wait for Denny's Butterfly. They definitely need more damage in those fights.
Yeah.
If Denny has Butterfly in the previous engagement, they kill Viper no matter what.
Oh yeah. Well, Aegis has since expired. Now the advantage actually lies with NaVi in that sense, with that she's available. Just have it in the backpack. Yeah, once the fight starts, you'll probably swap that in for the TB scroll. Now NaVi, they're on the hunt. Trying to find a quick little pick off here. Roger, just set up by the fact that.
I think Roger stole the cheese. I think Roger stole the cheese earlier when he
was the one who was coming in. He hookshot it in and must have picked it, but now he's being punished. Caught out with Miposhka Shadowblade. He just picked it up too, so NaVi.
Is he gonna get up?
No way. No way, go.
That was so close. It was like like a millisecond,
Yeah.
maybe 5 milliseconds. But yeah, anyway, for some reason I thought that that Navi took the second Roche, but no, it was Empire that took it. It was Empire that took it.
But yeah,
So
General,
silly.
he did hook her in just after. He didn't quite get the edges, but he outlasted
Must have gotten the
Roche,
cheese.
but yeah, he got the
Must have
cheese.
gotten the cheese.
But yeah, hard online now on Crystallize. They're working away at bottom. Top lane still not across the river. They're working the middle lane. But there's no tier 2 to take there, so it's Empire. They're looking for a fight, but Navi, they know that that's the only option for Empire, so they just back off. They spread out and farm. They push the other lanes again. Very methodical, very strategic though that they're playing right now.
Crystallize did buy his heart, but only after he knew that he would have buyback anyway.
Okay.
Boschka has the Shadow Blade now.
Yep. And that with the Brewmaster, they're gonna get the kill on to General. Keep in from Sound as well. He's super farmed too. I haven't really talked too much about that, but he just lies sitting at 20k, but he's 25k with 14 kills, 15 assists. BKB able to travel, Butterfly of his own. In the Lincoln Sphere. He's actually very hard to kill, and he's also hitting extremely hard with the flat cannon everybody in these teamfights. It's one of the reasons that Empire has been able to consistently take them or just at least make the trades happen.
Sort of awkward phase for Empire where, yeah, you get a pick off, but what do you get out of it because your lanes are getting pushed out? You know, they have to wait for this creep wave to come in so they get this, so they can take this tower. But in the meantime, of course, Crystallize pushing out the bottom lane. And once they see those heroes committing to top lane, I wouldn't be surprised if Crystallize applies even more pressure up here. He probably won't be able to touch those racks. Somebody will probably TP there beforehand. You know,
Boschka's already here, Ghost coming back as well. He's gonna do a little bit of chip damage with the illusion, but nothing major. Only range strikes, even if that falls,
Roger with
don't
a
really
very
care at this
aggressive
point.
TP. That's a super aggressive TP.
Quite see him. When he might
They're
fight
waiting
his
for somebody
Viper and
to
you don't want to fight him.
To farm top here.
Could be
Oh, he's gonna scut both of them out!
Oh, what the hell? Roger, hookshotting in onto the Rubik here. Lifts him out of the cogs, trying to TP away. General, they hold on to the roll, but they don't need it. Right taking away them. Even if he gets out there, it's probably not worth using a roll at this point if you anticipate more opportunities and perhaps more heroes in the general area that you could use it for instead.
Well, this kind of pick off though, at the end of the day, it doesn't really mean much or anything really for Navi. The lanes, their lanes actually are the ones that are getting pushed out now. General is trying to push out. Oh, maybe mid lane they can go for a fight
The
here.
Shadow Blade doing so much on a triple stun on top of the Magnus Eyes. Event coming through. Then he pops a BKB as well as the ultimate. He's trying to fight us, but Event is pretty damn strong himself with his own BKB. And we all know Crystallize coming in to try and take over. There's also Bruce Blitz silent on the low ground. Going on rockets left, right, and center. Focusing on Roger first. That's a very easy kill. Meanwhile, General does the same to Boschka on the side. And well, Viper left alone here just with the Bruce, but it's not all that crazy anymore. Not against Crystallize, who's being so strong. So they lose this Viper, the second homing missile. Or the third one, I don't even know. Silent gets that double kill still, but now he's the one super low in health, super low in mana. He's being slowed down. Denny with a blink, with the race. They're gonna get that kill. Now Ghosting, your last man standing. And he has to TP out. NaVi. This time the scrappy fights work out in their favor. Silent, he was running down supports. While Denny was fighting for his life. Not Denny. FN was fighting for his life on the Viper.
Yeah, very uncoordinated. They took that fight. The Viper was the only one that was uphill. Then the Brewmaster jumps in, but they can't really deal with the Phantom Lens illusions that easily. They need the silent Gyrocopter, and he's trying to force himself in a position where he could flat cannon both low ground and high ground. But I believe he ran out of flat cannon charges, and then of course, you know, it has a ridiculously long cooldown.
This last found an illusion rune. I was wondering, hey, what? Why are there 4 blue illusions from the Phantom Lancer? This time to the shrine. Meanwhile, the rest of the team just burning down the mid. They might even force out a buyback from Gyrocopter. Without that, you're missing 26k net worth in this fight. You need this kind of power right now, especially considering that Phantom Lancer, he has that MKB. Extra attack speed and up against the Butterfly from Gyrocopter
I don't
as
think
well.
they can risk losing this tower here. The Viper comes in. Oh, they're gonna lose this tower here. Oh.
Power, but not the racks just yet.
Clockwork is ready though. He could hook in at any time.
Poking and prodding, trying to get that vision going. Miposhka comes in with the stuns. The Sly still feeling comfortable enough. He does have the cheese to work with. Forced to NaVi. They don't overcommit here. They're just leaving top lane. Alright, that was some necro creeps and whatnot. Working away at the range racks too, so a little bit of unhealable damage. Meanwhile, mid, they do bring down the melee racks with that bit of chaos coming up top. Silent finally respawning on his own volition. That'll make NaVi back off, but they got what they came for. Got another couple of tier 3s, extra damage on range, and also the melee mid.
Yeah, they gave up 2 tier 3 towers, immediate racks, and a lot of damage taken on the range racks. And of course, the bottom racks has been exposed for like 10 minutes now. Their rack, their base is completely naked. So if they lose one more fight, that's over.
Yeah.
Or not over necessarily. You know, they have a gyrocopter. It's never over with a gyrocopter. But still, I think a buyback would have been worth it. You can slow down the game, not take a fight, and just wait for your buyback to come off. I think that would have been a safer option. But this way, it feels like losing one fight almost opens up pretty much mega creeps for NaVi. They have so much push potential, or so much pushing power with their lineup, and especially now that those items, of course, after that fight and after all these objectives, you know, all these items are coming together. Almost an MKB, actually, on Dendi. And of course, Crystallize has had his MKB for a while now, so Silent is suddenly not really that tanky anymore. There's a lot of damage. They can ignore the evasion as well.
They also have a lot of control because Beastmaster, that was the third Roche. They got the refresher shot on top of that as well. Beastmaster holding onto it, so he is potentially double raw. Lincoln's is still there for Gyrocopter to protect him, possibly. Now, they're running into high ground. Roger in a perfect position. Ghost Stick with a prime split, gets it off. Now slow down, and yeah, Clock was just going to correct it down by Silent NaVi. They don't want to take a fight here still. Denny's sitting on the side. There's vision for the raid inside with the high ground ward. Denny's actually being left on top of that. Snake could track down on the side. Meanwhile, there's the first roar on the other side. Crystallize looking to try and bring down Gyrocopter. Stunned up by something though in return. 2-4 trade so far. Advanced good first one to fall. There's the second roar though, and that's Silent going down. Well, he's happy as he's holding on to buybacks. She's being eaten by Phantom Lancer, continuing to fight up against Ghostic throughout that Magnetize. A lot of damage being done, but now FN, juicy target here, very low on health. BKB TPing out, but Crystallize with a double kill here, does enough damage. Dendy coming back with the Aegis while all that was happening, and now, despite these buybacks from the course, 2 Vampire Zeros don't have it. No Vansco, no Ghostic. Magnetize is on cooldown. Could still be something here. They're throwing homing missiles, trying to hold on, but NaVi, they're only missing the Clockwork, they don't have the wall. But that's about all they're missing here. Crystallize still can feel very, very strong right now. Face tank him. There it is. There
he has another roar. He has a refresh orb. He came back with a refresh orb.
No.
I'm not
That is something crawl to and if he dies, it could be all over the 4-star. Try and get him in a better position, but Dush gets him into the arms of Dendy. Pops a BKB with a call down, and all the flat cannon charges from Silent. Turn things around a little bit, but Crystallize does not care. He commits for the kill. He gets it, and now Silent, next on the list, trying to make it all the way back to the fountain. But it is Soneko with the Maledict, who gets the double kill to end the game. It's all but inevitable. The GG gonna have to be called. Soneko just taunts tanking the tier 4 towers. Empire, they have both of the supports back. No damage output whatsoever between them, even with the Magnetize. And GG is called.
GG is called, and it is NaVi that will qualify as the CIS team for
Not
MDL
so
Macau,
fast, dude. Not so fast. Empire won game number 1, in case you forgot. Going to game 3.
There was something. Yeah, there was something. Right. I was really confused for no. Damn it! It's late.
Oh man.
No.
I'm gonna let that slide. Twitch chat will flame me for it later. Once the game catches up.
No, that was a very interesting game from NaVi. It felt like a 180 from the first game, if anything.
Yeah, it was the same plan, but they were able to execute it better because they were in a better situation to actually pressure Empire enough in multiple ways. Like they had kill pressure. Empire was, they needed to spend a lot of time just finding the right team fights, finding the right initiations. That's not something that really had to worry about as much in game number 1, I feel like.
Man, I had a whole speech prepared. No, but that was, I don't know, General for me, the MVP of this game, General completely 180. Like, he's sort of like the symbolic figure of this series so far, right?
Yep.
The first game, he's suffering a lot. He doesn't really do too much on this Beastmaster. He can't really do too much on the Beastmaster because Empire shut him down in the early game. And this game, he's been controlling pretty much the flow of the game. Like, takes tower after tower. He pushes the lanes. He gets a bunch of solo kills. He comes back with a refresher orb and kills them again. It was such a good play because TP is out, and I was surprised that he TPs back in, but he comes in with a refresher orb, a new roar, and just opens up that final set of racks for them.
Alright, scoreline is 1-1. One more game will decide which of these teams will make it to MDL out of the CIS region. Stay tuned, we'll be back with game number 3 shortly.